Honda has flipped the script on Lance Stroll and Aston Martin, sending shockwaves through the F1 world with one bold move. What started as a simple engine partnership for 2020s has quickly turned into something much bigger. Honda isn't just sitting back, they're making waves, from driver decisions to power plays that no one saw coming. So, what does this mean for Lance Stroll and Aston Martin? The answer might just change everything. Honda's partnership with Aston Martin is rewriting the book. As Red Bull waves goodbye to Honda at the end of this season, Aston Martin steps in with open arms, setting the stage for what can only be described as a seismic shift in Formula One. This is a total overhaul of the sport's dynamics, but there's more than just partnership. This is Honda flexing its muscles for a company that spent years quietly powering champions. But their ambitions don't stop at picking drivers. They're leaning into the future of F1 with hybridized powertrains and sustainable fuels. In an era where green tech meets high speed, Honda's return isn't just timely, it's strategic. At the center of the partnership is Lance Stroll, the walking embodiment of nepotism in Formula One. His seat has been as secure as a billionaire dad's wallet could make it. But with Honda in the mix, that might not be enough anymore. Watanabe's statements about driver shakeups should send chills down Stroll's spine. Suddenly, Daddy's billions might not hold the same weight against Honda's ruthless efficiency and results-driven mindset. Lydia Mee of Motorsport reported that Aston Martin only has 2 seats. That's a far cry from Red Bull's 4-car playground. And when one of those seats is perpetually reserved for Stroll, thanks to familial ties, it starts to look less like a team and more like a trust fund in racing gear. Honda, however, is all about efficiency. They're not afraid to make tough calls, and history has shown they prioritize talent and potential over sentimentality. Watanabe's subtle jab about the reduction in seats was a shot across the bow. Honda doesn't do partnerships halfway. If Stroll's performance doesn't justify his presence, you can bet Honda will voice their opinions loud enough to be heard in every boardroom and garage across the grid. What's particularly damning for Stroll is Honda's history of pragmatism. They're not in the business of catering to egos or family dynamics. Their track record with Red Bull proves they'll back the best drivers, even if it means ruffling a few feathers along the way. Lance may have been shielded from scrutiny under his father's ownership, but Honda's involvement adds a whole new layer of accountability. While the Stroll situation simmers, Honda's focus is shifting toward the future. Yuki Tsunoda has been on a meteoric rise, earning a seat with Red Bull, a massive leap for the young Japanese driver. But here's the catch. Red Bull's cozy 4-seat setup will shrink to Aston Martin's 2-seat survival game in 2020. With Honda's commitment to nurturing talent, Tsunoda might not stay with Red Bull for long. In fact, Honda's involvement with Aston Martin could push for a Tsunoda move to the team. Could Yuki Tsunoda join Aston Martin in 2026? That's a real possibility. If Lance Stroll's performance doesn't improve, Honda may look to replace him with one of their rising stars. Someone like Tsunoda, who has the skill and the potential. This would create a dramatic shift in the Aston Martin garage, as Tsunoda's youthful energy and Honda's backing would make him a highly attractive candidate. But wait, before you start imagining a Stroll-Tsunoda link-up, let's take a step back. We have to talk about Fernando Alonso because he is the prominent part of Aston Martin. Yes, Fernando Alonso is currently driving for Aston Martin in Formula One. He joined the team on a multi-year deal in 2023 alongside Lance Stroll after leaving Alpine. And not to mention that Alonso has been actively involved with Aston Martin beyond racing, including collaborations on bespoke vehicles like the Aston Martin Valiant, which he recently drove in Monaco. But Alonso's relationship with Honda isn't exactly a smooth one. In 2015, he roasted Honda's engine during the Japanese Grand Prix, infamously calling it the GP2 engine. That moment was a dagger to Honda's pride. And it didn't stop there. Fast forward to the Indy 500 in 2017, where Alonso was gunning for the Triple Crown of motorsport. Leading the race, poised to make history, but the Honda engine gave out, and Alonso's dreams of glory were left in the smoke. Coincidence? Maybe. But the conspiracy theorists had a field day. Was it bad luck? By 2019 and 2020, the feud had turned into full-on estrangement. Alonso wanted back into IndyCar, but Honda effectively slammed the door in his face. They vetoed him from using their engines like a parent grounding their kid for smashing the family car. Alonso was forced to compete with less competitive setups, and it showed. The once dominant racer clawed for relevance in a field he should have dominated. So here we are in 2025, and Alonso finds himself staring at another potential partnership with Honda, this time through Aston Martin. Can these two really make it work? Or are they destined for another round of public bickering and passive-aggressive interviews? On the one hand, Alonso has mellowed out a bit. His recent performances with Aston Martin have reminded everyone why he's still one of the best in the business. On the other, Honda doesn't seem like the forgive and forget type. This reunion could either be a masterstroke or a slow-motion disaster waiting to unfold. Now, let's talk about the most tantalizing possibility of all, Max Verstappen, the reigning world champion and Honda's former ally. Verstappen and Honda dominated F1 together, winning multiple championships, and now Honda is eyeing a possible reunion with the Dutch driver. Koji Watanabe has been dropping hints about wanting another opportunity to collaborate with Verstappen. But here's the catch. Verstappen's contract with Red Bull runs until 2028. So how would this even work? Well, in F1, contracts aren't exactly set in stone. If Verstappen decides that Red Bull's future isn't aligning with his championship ambitions, he could force an exit. And where would he go? Aston Martin, with its shiny new factory, Adrian Newey's design genius, and Honda's backing, might just be the perfect place for him to continue his domination. This is where things get spicy. If Honda sees Verstappen as their key to ultimate dominance with Aston Martin, they might push for a move, whether Verstappen wants it or not. The key question is whether he will stay loyal to Red Bull or take a bold step toward a new challenge. Now, let's circle back to Aston Martin. The team faces a serious dilemma in 2020. With Honda's increased influence, things are about to get uncomfortable for Lance Stroll. Will Aston Martin continue to back him, or will Honda push for a more competitive lineup? The Stroll-Alonso power struggle is set to escalate. Stroll's seat has always been secure, thanks to his billionaire father. But now that Honda is at the helm, Stroll's spot might not be as safe. Honda's reputation for prioritizing results over sentimentality means Stroll could face some tough competition in the form of Tsunoda or even Alonso. And don't forget about Alonso's own ambitions. If he feels that Aston Martin isn't giving him the tools to win, he might push for changes, potentially even lobbying for a seat swap. This could lead to a showdown between Stroll and Alonso, each fighting for their place in the team. Aston Martin's partnership with Honda brings both incredible potential and high stakes. If things go right, they could be the next dominant force in F1. If things go wrong, their ambitious plans could crumble under the pressure of too many egos and conflicting priorities. With Honda's focus on results and their desire to build a winning legacy, it's clear that they're not here to play nice. Aston Martin could find themselves at the center of a driver lineup shakeup that will shape the future of F1 for years to come. So, what's next for Aston Martin and Honda? Will Verstappen trade his Red Bull wings for Aston Martin green? Will Alonso pull off a comeback, or will he be left on the sidelines? And will Lance Stroll prove he's more than just a billionaire's son? The 2026 season is shaping up to be a thrilling, high-stakes drama. As Honda takes the wheel, they're not just supplying engines, they're crafting a legacy. With their track record and ambitions, no one is safe from the fallout of their plans. The race for the future of F1 is on, and it's going to be a wild ride. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on Honda and Aston Martin partnership.